And we're back. Welcome to another episode of the 116 Life right here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Man, listen, we're so happy that you guys are here. Shout out to everyone that's tuned into your girl. And listen to Ace Harris. He in the building as always. I'm not going to lie, y'all. I'm mad. I'm mad because I really thought, I'm going to do something light this week for those who are watching the episode on YouTube. I really thought I was going to do something light, sweatshirt. Then I walk into Reach and I see Ace. He got like Balenciaga on.
Oh my God. Chill.
And Gucci shoes on, and I'm like, see, that's what I get.
Y'all don't see the curls though. I mean, come on, hair laid. You come on, just calm down, man.
Gotta make up for something. You know what I'm saying? How you feeling, Ace? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm definitely like, I got a lot on my mind, a lot and my hands are like a lot that I'm putting my hands to right now, musically, creatively, family, work. So I'm just like, juggling is a weird word. I am obligated to a lot of things.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I feel that,
so
man.
How about you? How you feeling?
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's been a week. I can't lie to you. So I feel like the topic we have this week between the two of us here is so timely. We're just talking about the balance between work versus rest. And I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Yeah. I just grasped the concept that rest is okay and necessary. Really that's necessary. I don't know about you, but I'm not even sure if this is, I won't say that it's just Black culture, but I just know for me, because I have a lot of friends who are, Black, at least in my household, rest equated to laziness.
Really?
Yes, yo. Like that's Saturdays
crazy.
After hard work, school and all that, you know what I'm saying? And I just want to chill. My mom was like, no, you up 8 o'clock on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And I never felt comfortable resting.
Weird. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, Ben Washer, he don't ever let me rest. He's always just, nah, just kidding. He's in the background, so I just had to shout him out. He's like, get to work, Ace. Make us some money. Nah, I feel like, so let me, I want to dig in that a little bit. Okay. So when you say rest, like, were you guys like had to wake up and like do chores? What was, the response to you guys like sleeping in, resting from your parents?
It was either wake up and do chores. Or my mom always was like, something needs to be done. Gotcha. And we always be like, what? And she would say, just look around. Something needs to be done. And I'm like, what is it?
You're breathing too much.
Even when I go to, I remember going to like other family members' house, just like, chilling, relaxing, trying to like, thinking I'm getting away from home to maybe chill a little bit. Same thing, you know, getting up in the morning, chores. Oh, let's go outside and do this, or let's cook this. And I'm kind of like, well, I guess it's not okay. I will always feel anxious, bro.
Really? I
will always feel anxious if I'm like sitting. I was like, I feel like I need to do something. Oh, and then it wasn't until, I'm not even gonna lie to you, like last year. Really? I was like, I think this is okay. I still have to even talk myself into it now. Sure. Like, no, it's okay, breathe, And it's crazy that at my big age, really the fact that I haven't felt comfort in rest, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm growing. I'm growing there. What about you? Were you always like into rest or like balancing work and rest at least?
I mean, I feel like I love working. As people may say, I'm a workaholic. I just always like doing stuff. I enjoy it. So, I mean, I think there were days growing up where we could sleep in sometimes, but
a dream.
But I also remember my older brother waking us up sometimes on Saturdays, like, yo, we gotta clean this house. And I'm like, I want to watch cartoons. He was like, nah, we gotta make sure moms, So it was like, I think there was always activities going on. But I just, my parents, well, my dad, he worked so hard. So I think I just aspired to work like him. So not that he made me work a lot. I mean, we did have stuff we to do, but I like the idea of just always putting your hands into something, always trying to grow, trying to learn, trying to read. My dad was a pastor, so it was just like, we don't believe in sitting down. He's always on the go, helping somebody, doing some ministry event. So I think I just kind of embodied that growing up and kind of like, learn how to just be a workaholic.
No, same. My dad is hands down the hardest working person I know.
That's
and
crazy.
My mom too. My mom and dad are so different because my mom will always let us know. She would never let a day pass where she don't tell us how hard she working. Like we see it, but she will always let us know. So we always knew how busy she was. But my dad always be up at the crack of dawn. He owns a landscaping business. So like would be up in the crack of dawn and then gone late, no matter the weather. You know what I'm saying? Like rain, sleet, snow, always outside, pushing the pavement, always pushing his business forward.
That's good.
It didn't matter, So, but I've never seen him rest.
Really?
And I never seen my mom rest. And even I would always see family members get onto each other when they take a day off or when they are sitting down doing something. So it was always just around me knowing that, oh, this is what you don't do. So you always do and you never don't do. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I'm now even trying to bring these customs into my home, telling certain family members, you know, you should take a break. Like you should rest this day, you know, and they're always like, it's always combative, but I'm even trying to bring these new norms in, even to my mind, but even to those around me. Cause I just feel like it's not a way for us to live.
What was y'all Sundays like? If your dad was working on Saturdays, what was y'all Sundays like for real?
Sundays went to church my dad sang on the choir, so we had to be at church at 7.
Ooh.
We had 2 services at the time, so we had to stay late till then. Mom had to do grocery shopping, so we had to go grocery shopping end after church. Boy, my mom was a couponer, so if anyone knows what extreme couponing is.
Basically, we hated to be behind your mom in the grocery line.
Basically. And imagine me, my mom went to 3 different grocery stores, you know what I'm saying? Like buying up everything. We wouldn't get home until like 8.
Long Sunday.
On a Sunday, bro. On a Sunday.
And then school tomorrow.
So it was never, I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't in my routine.
And did you in the moment feel like, man, this is a lot?
Yeah, but I was kind of like, oh, everybody does this. And so people were like, oh, well, I just slept in all day. I'm kind of like, what's that like? You know what I'm saying? So it's real interesting seeing the differences of everybody in which they did that. But yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm learning.
Yeah, I feel like that's good because I feel like rest, even speaking to, you know, obviously there's different listeners and there are different cultures that tap in. I think, you know, obviously everybody has their own story, but I do think specifically to growing up in a Black church or African household like me, is like Sundays sometimes did become like days of like, we just doing too much, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what was Sunday like?
So my dad was a pastor, like he always be at an extra service program, and I played drums, and it was like, you had these long days, and it was after church meetings, and you had to go preach at somebody else's church. The choir would sing at this church. So it wasn't like a lot of like, go to church, come home at like 2:00 and sleep for the rest of the day. So there was a lot of late nights.
Yeah.
But I think rest was, and we had a big family too. So it was kind of like, you know, at one point in my household, we had 10 people living in there.
Whoa.
And 2 bathrooms. So
who was all living with you?
We had 5, my parents had 5 kids.
Okay.
And then my dad had 2 kids before Christ, two kids. So one of the older brothers, my brother Wilter, shout out Wilter, who taught me how to play music and everything. So he lived with us. So that's 6 kids.
Okay.
Well, Wilter's he's more of a young man at the time, like in his 1920s.
Okay.
And then you had, so because in Liberian culture, really in immigrant culture, as you get set up in America, you would always send for relatives to come, trying to get their green card paper. So we were like a revolving door of relatives coming on. So you had my uncle, then I had my auntie, then I had my grandma, then I had my other uncle. So like in the house, it was 10 people. Whoa. So like it was just busy. So my mom and my aunt, who kind of like helped us out, there was like, both parents working full time. So I didn't really get to see them rest because there was so much to keep going in that house. So I think naturally, it wasn't like that I was forced to like keep on working. I didn't know what rest looked like, so I was just like, we just always doing something. You know what I'm saying?
So how did rest like progress for you as you got older?
Man, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I played basketball through high school. I was in clubs. I was doing stuff. Got to college. I was active. I don't think I really knew how to rest till maybe I had kids.
Really?
Yeah. Like I didn't really understand what rest looked like.
Okay.
We can get into the biblical side of it later, but yeah, I feel like rest. It was like kind of like you. We need to always be doing something. Especially as I was like coming up as a producer, pursuing music in my like early 20s to mid 20s and getting married before I had kids. It was like there's always something to be done. You can always make a beat. You can always send a beat. You can always make a phone call. You can always send an email. You can always clean the house. There's no sense of like we just out here just sitting down, not being productive. So I mean, yeah, it was just kind of like we always doing something, you know. So yeah.
So what was it like? I think it's interesting that you said you didn't understand or grasp rest until you had kids.
Because kids make like when you try to do all that, and this is why I resonate with you, Meah. Like as someone who's a single woman, godly woman, and you are also a businesswoman and a workaholic. I resonate because I see a little bit of myself in you, and like, oh, you out here like what? We out here getting to it, and it's like, if I didn't have a family, I probably would have crashed and worked myself into a weird space mentally because I just didn't know. Having kids forces me to like, I gotta get this done. I have to spend my time to something that's more important. I have no choice. You know what I'm saying? So I think having kids kind of just forced me to consider rest, pursue rest, and it had me realize that I needed rest.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with like, young babies, diapers, late nights, working. It's too much. You're going to have to find a break at some point. You know what I'm saying?
I think I'm very grateful, for the people that I have around me because I feel like seeing people like my friends, like my friends Aaron and even y'all. One time we were trying to get an episode done for 116 Life, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, weekdays aren't working. Well, maybe like a Saturday. I don't know. I'm trying to rest more, but I don't know. I don't want no one thinking that I'm not a team player and I don't want to work hard. I don't want to get things done. So let me propose in the chat like, hey, y'all down for Saturday? And Ace was like, nah, Saturdays is for family. And I was like, oh, thank God. But I'm happy you did that because I feel like it set a standard. You know what I'm saying? Where, we work, but also we make time to rest too.
Yeah.
Like, my family's important. You know what I'm saying? And even saying like what me taking time away so I can come back and be my best is important.
Do you think you would, I don't know how your weekends are, like, do you feel like if you kept going and, your weekends were super busy, do you feel like you'll be able to be as charged up come Mondays?
No, man.
Yeah.
There have been times when I feel guilty, bro.
Really? On what days? Like on Saturdays?
On Saturday specifically, because I'm like, okay, I have free time.
Yeah.
So because I have free time, I should work.
Well, what are you working on? Like,
everything. I sound like my mom. And it's so funny because I just feel like my sister and I were talking about this yesterday where we're saying everything, there's never going to be a time when there's never not something that needs to be done.
That's true. And we can say this for the next segment. God could say the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he created the world in a week. He could have kept going. Why did he stop? I mean, he's infinite. He has all power. He doesn't slumber nor sleep. Yeah. But he intentionally rested. But I think it's kind of like a good model for us. Like, there's always like somebody gave me like that kind of gave me some wisdom when I was like in my mid-20s to 30s, and I was kind of thinking about rest. Was like, this is when I was working at corporate America, the AT&T, and I had quit I was working as an account executive before I quit my job for the music business. This is like, I was 24, 25. He said, and I used to stay late. I was always working. I at that corporate job, I was working too much. Yeah. He was like, man, the work's going to be here tomorrow. And I was like, dang, you're right. Yeah. It's going to be here tomorrow. Like, there's nothing that I can't do today that won't be, like, if I knock out this list today, tomorrow is a new list. Mm-hmm. So just have a cutoff moment. Yeah. The work is endless, but our time should have parameters. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely feel like it taught me something that I'm still chewing on that. I'm still trying to figure it out. Cause it ain't like, as people who are wired to get stuff done, people who love the Lord, it's like, there's so much to be done. And we just want to take every moment to just work as hard as we can.
I think the next segment, I'm excited for us to dive into like what God has shown us about rest like what we've learned about that. Listen, don't go anywhere because we know some of y'all need to be resting too. This episode is for all of us. Let us know what you guys are thinking. We'll be right back here on the 116 Live here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the 116 Live here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Listen, so Ace and I here are chopping up, talking about rest and how we digested rest growing up. Clearly, we ain't have much of it, but like our mindset and perspectives changed growing up. Before we talk about even how God maybe gave us revelations on what rest was and kind of, I guess, reformed and redefined it to us in our lives, what about like mental rest for you?
John, are we in a therapy session?
Listen, we on the couches. You might as well take it
hold
there.
on, chill. I mean, I be having my mind races a lot. I definitely my mind's definitely always working. Even when I'm not physically working, I feel like my mind's always working.
Yeah.
And I be having to pray, meditate, and like quiet my thoughts intentionally. Like because I feel like rest is not just a physical activity. It is a spiritual activity, and we can get into Sabbath. Like God created the Sabbath for us. Like it talks about that in I think it's Matthew 2:27. Like we weren't made for the Sabbath. Sabbath was made for us.
Oh, that's so good.
And it's like, why? Because we need to stop working. Because working too much, honestly, is kind of like, for me, I don't know. I wonder how God feels about that. It's almost like it kind of like trumps his trust. Like it kind of like thwarts our trust in him.
Can I tell you what I heard that was so fire? Shout out to Erin Knight. She was actually sitting in this exact same spot when we were recording the Winter Circle. We did a rest episode. And she said something that I'll never forget that changed one of my perspectives on rest. And it was that me not resting means that I can outwork God. And I was like, wow, man,
that's hard.
I could never.
Yeah.
Even if I tried.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So me resting, like you said, it's a form of trust.
It's a form
honestly.
of trust. It really is.
It's me saying that even I could work hard and give a day off, and God would still do exceedingly beyond what I could do.
Yeah, because I mean, really, do we believe that the outcomes that follow the efforts, quote unquote, how much of it is us working hard? How much of it is God working on behalf of us?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have to obviously I'm not here to trump hard work. I'm a hard worker. I just feel like, it's a matter of surrender and entrusting the Lord to do the work for us that we can't do. Like, even when we're sleeping, even when we're chilling,
bro,
even when our mind's racing, God in the spiritual realm is doing things that we can't see. He's doing things that we can't understand that actually benefits us in the physical realm. So sometimes things be coming up, you're like, how did that happen? Hey, we can't even explain it because God is working the supernatural. And I feel like that's the part that I'm still growing in, is like learning how to rest my mind. Because like, even though before I came in, I was like, well, he was like, what you on? I'm like, well, I got a lot of obligations. I'm thinking about a lot of different things. My mind's in a couple different places. And I wonder if anxiety is a function of us thinking too much.
Bro, please don't get me started.
We're just thinking too much. And a lot of times when we think in our brain, how many of those thoughts are really positive, God-honoring, surrender? Do we just sit here and be like, yeah, I'm trusting the Lord, I believe in you? I feel like when we start listening to our brain, listen to our self-talk, and the thoughts wander, and our mind's not resting, and our mind's working or overworking, I bet you 90% of those thoughts of working are thoughts of anxiousness, anxiety, negativity. We're not thinking, yeah, it's gonna be, man, this outcome's gonna work great. I mean, what do you think?
Man, when I tell you, I have had a habit of overthinking. I hate it, Ace. I've resided more. I have more of a home in my head than I do, I feel like, here. When I tell you the thoughts, man, oh my gosh. And there'd be times where I just wish I could just like, shut it off, shut it down. Because when I tell you, it's one thing to even physical rest. That's why I brought it up, because I feel like sometimes for me, I have to rest my mind.
Yeah.
I have to do things that will take my mind off of this.
Yes. I got a scripture for you.
Go ahead.
Keep talking.
So there will be times when I'll want to rest and be doing something, but my mind is still going.
Right.
Like even I was telling Ace, like this past week was just like a lot for me. And when I tell you, just being able to do things, pray, and don't underestimate prayer, y'all.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard, shout out to my pastor, Pastor Michael Todd in Tulsa. He said, like, if people who have anxiety, you're prayer warriors. Because the fact that you're able to get the details and sniper in the spirit, be able to hit things.
That's good.
And I just know for me, like, having that rested mind is just as important as the physical.
No, it's super good. I feel like there's definitely something I want to speak to that. This is Isaiah chapter 26 verse 2 through 5. And I actually sent this verse to two of our artists. I ain't gonna say their names, because I felt something that needed to be said, and I feel like this will hopefully it's calmed me. That's giving me a lot of perspective. Open the gates to all who are righteous. Allow the faithful to enter. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you. All whose thoughts are fixed on you. Trust in the Lord always, for the Lord God is the eternal rock. He humbles the proud and brings down the arrogant city. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. And I think to contrast that with like Peter in the boat walking on water, obviously when Peter took his eyes off Jesus, he started to sink. I think we always kind of reference keep looking to Jesus, keep your eyes fixed on him, which that's in the Bible too. This scripture reminded me like, it's keep your eyes on him, but keep your thoughts on him as well. Yeah. You got to do both, because in a way, when your thoughts are not on him, where do our thoughts go? They go towards
wild.
They go wild.
Run wild.
They don't necessarily go to a great place. They generally go to ourselves, our situations, our anxiety, our fears. So our thoughts just on our own thinking, our own doing, our thoughts are very like untamable and wild. And I'm like, I think the verse after that says, he humbles the proud. I'm like, overworking is kind of a point.
It's pride. Bro, listen,
bro.
God has been showing me how sneaky pride is, bro.
Sneaky, bro.
It's sneaky. Even you saying, I'm not prideful, it's pride. And you saying that, oh, well, no, I need to rest. I need to get it done. I need to da-da-da. It's saying you're relying on you, that it's not going to get done. Your prayers aren't going to get answered. Your request won't be made if you stop.
Facts. Where's the offering basket, Meah?
Listen, at this point, we should just put the Cash App out there and let people, because there's so many things that people need to be able to dissect, man. You not being able to rest is you relying on you.
Yeah, it's where our thoughts, where our eyes. Think about it, like in the boat, like when Peter starts to sink, it's like he takes his eyes off Jesus, which in a way puts his eyes on himself and on his circumstance, which in a way is you're trying to work. Now at that point you're trying to work independent of the one who's all dependable.
Yeah.
And at that point, pride seeps in. Oh, I got this. I'm worrying because I have to fix this. And I'm not saying, look, worry is part of like the human condition.
Yeah.
Just because you're worried don't mean you're in a Christian. Just because you're worried don't mean you have faith. We need to dead all that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you need to surrender and fix your thoughts on him, because when they're not on God, they go on dark and like anxious and unfulfilling, lack of edifying things that don't help us see him more clearly, which ultimately leads us to more stress, more anxiety, more indecision. So I just feel like let me speak to me. There's times, Meah, when I'm so overwhelmed with like music, creativity, and like sometimes it's good overwhelmed. Like I'm desiring to get this idea out. Then I'm at my kid's basketball game. It's like a lot of things I'm dealing with. And I sometimes in the mornings, I literally have to just pray for peace to just quiet my mind. And like, you know what? And sometimes what I do is I think about the worst outcome. Not that I'm trying to like pray for bad things to happen, but I'm like, oh yeah, if this song just tanks, if this outcome doesn't hit, how will I feel? Okay, I think I'll be okay. Why do I do that? It's to remind me that my peace, my perspective should not be rooted in the tangible outcomes of my efforts. It should be rooted in the actual trust in the Lord and him being with me through everything. So if I'm like up when it's up and down when it's down, where's my trust in? I
think even going back to the mental point, the point of excuse me, when we need mental rest. So I always try to dissect that, like, what do I do to get my mind off of these things? What do I do to lift these weights off my mind? And I think of that scripture, I believe in Matthew, where Jesus says, come to me when you're weary and when you're burdened. I remember one time I was in a meeting, Ace, burdened. I was like, I could not get off the Zoom quick enough just because it was a lot of weight on top of other things. And when I tell you, I heard God say, clear as day, don't be burdened. And it's only because when you realize, I feel like it's easier to eat the simple truth of knowing how God cares.
For sure.
And that it's easy for him.
Yeah, it's easy.
Him be able, like your request. I think that's another thing. It's even like sometimes we worry ourselves because we think it's too big.
Yeah.
and what it's going to take us for our to-do list and how we section things off for this quarter, how we're going to do it in this quarter. We get overwhelmed. I know I'd be overwhelming myself sometimes.
For sure.
My to-do list, I'd be excited, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And when you realize that it's easy for God, you know what I'm saying? It's light. That's the Bible literally says it's a light thing for God to do.
And then sometimes I be like, I'm still learning in the moment, like, what if what I'm trying to do don't happen? Like, what if what I'm praying for don't come through? Mm-hmm. What if what I'm stressing about, what if the outcome doesn't go the way I want it to go? Mm-hmm. I think that's the function of us working. We're trying to control an outcome that we actually don't have control over.
At all.
We're trying to decide the results before it can happen. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if we should do the work. We should find joy in the work itself and not be so stressed about how it's going to turn out. And that's probably why we overwork. We're trying to I got to make sure it's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if you just found rest in the work? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, just work joyous with a joyful spirit and just show up and do the best you can, take the light, and then relax, and just allow the Lord to just do the results that we can't do anymore.
Yeah, because you talked about that in a past episode where we're talking about artists.
Yeah.
And you were saying how when you do all you can, but then you got to sit back and if the song goes up, that's great. You know what I'm saying? But if it doesn't, that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
That's okay.
You still have to do what you can, but sit back and let God do the rest.
For sure.
And whatever his hand says it's final and it's okay.
We rest while God does the rest. That's amazing.
That's kind of a bar. I'll let anybody I'll let anybody at Reach use it. Just cut me a check. That's all I say. Listen, when we come back, I want to tell you about a concept of rest that I personally grasp. That I think could help someone who's listening right now.
People we need some solutions.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all doing all this venting and calling us out.
I know that this isn't about you. So we're gonna come back with more right here on the 116 Life here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. We'll be right back. And we're back right here on the 116 Life here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. Listen, I got Ace here, and we are just talking about the balance of work versus rest. So I'm gonna take something that God brought to my attention earlier this week, because one of my biggest things for this year has been discipline. And I've been making sure one of my goals for this year is to live a rested life. And to make sure that it's just not something I do when I just go on vacation. It's just I have a honoring Sabbath, making sure I get it done.
That's good.
And so I've been thinking about the thought of you saying earlier where you said God rested on the seventh day.
Sure.
And then God was showing me how he rested because the work he did, he finished.
Right.
You know?
For sure.
So therefore, God's been charging me on make sure you get your tasks done. You know what I'm saying? So in the sense of and you rest because you finished. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like here's the thing, because I say this because you got some people like us where we have to rest and we overwork. Got some people who don't do enough work. And they're like, I need to rest. Like, it's important for me to rest. Like, I'm just thinking about my rest. I'll get it next week. I need to rest. Yeah, you should rest. But also, there's a balance. We're talking about the balance of work and rest. So it's important for you to rest, but God's also made sure that he's given us tasks and assignments to do here, So I've been trying to make sure I tell myself, okay, well, I got these things on my to-do list. Make sure I do the best I can to get them done.
Is there a time specifically you can call out or remember where you felt that you actually put that into practice? Like, I had a goal, had a vision, I completed, and now I actually can rest better because I worked so hard.
Perfect example. 116 Life. I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Every Thursday, I tell the team, I'm like, hey, y'all, I'm going to make up some talking points. I'm going to send them in by noon. I'll be honest, Ace. Sometimes it don't come in at noon, come around like 12:45, latest maybe 2 p.m. And God kind of convicted me about that. He's kind of like, oh, you can get it done. You can get it done by noon. Okay. If you manage your time well, you can be able to. So, but usually you be Thursday morning, I'm writing all the notes. You know what I'm saying? When really, I got all week. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, if I manage my time well, I can get my work done. And then here comes Thursday comes around, I can send it. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
So therefore, Thursday morning, I can rest just go over my notes, prepare myself for we had to record the next day. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, if I'm able to divvy things up the way God, because time is not mine, time is God's. I'm trying to even steward well what God has given me, which is time.
That's good.
I can steward my time well. Then God brought me the scripture,
That's dope,
Colossians 3:23, where it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Here it is. Sometimes we think that we go to jobs and go to work and we slack off and things like that. God's saying, don't work as if you're doing it for humans, for your boss, for your mom, you're doing it unto me. You know what I'm saying? The same way how you're resting unto me and not for yourself.
Gotcha.
You're resting. I want you to work unto me as well. So therefore you can work in me and you can rest in me as well. I feel like it's a balance. God was able to rest the last day because he was done. He finished his task. I feel like the same way how we're able to rest is if also we do what he's called for us to do that week for those things, and then we can be able to rest confidently in him.
Man, you killing I just gotta let that marinate for a little bit. Because what you're saying is, on the flip side of, especially and I'm gonna sound like an old head a little bit, we are in a state of prioritizing mental health.
Yeah.
Dealing with restlessness, anxiety, depression. And so the younger culture is so attuned to these things.
Yes.
And the older culture is insensitive to those things. And so I just sometimes wonder, in culture, are we overcorrecting bad habits by prioritizing mental health in a way that doesn't balance the work that we have to do?
That's good. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what I hear you saying is we need to rest as a response to the work that needs to be finished.
Yes.
We don't just need to rest and excuse the work that we have to do.
Yes, excuse. Yes, exactly.
Because I'm resting, yes, but what is it that God has you to do that you can actually labor towards that? So when you can rest, you're releasing, taking a break from those things. But I also feel like we can't really talk about rest without talking about assignment. I feel like we out here just resting. So I may sometimes some people that I talk to, I have to guard myself because I don't want to. I play college ball. I'm considered a high achiever by some. I like to get stuff done.
Yeah.
I like to wash my dishes at night, making my bed in the morning. I like to achieve something. And so I'm always being delicate, especially as I'm dealing with artists and creative people who their rest work balance or framework is a little different. And I'm creative, so I always have to, just be delicate. But at the same time, speaking of what you said about work onto the Lord, it's like, I am a fan of people pursuing the mental health, counseling, therapy, time, rest, yes. But please don't be saying that, and then all you do is scroll on your phone all day, and then you're talking about, I ain't got no ideas, I'm not creative, I'm overwhelmed. How are we disciplining ourselves for the work that we have to do so that we can do it unto the Lord at the fullness that we can do, and then actually rest and actually take a break? So I just want to be careful that we don't prioritize rest and excuse work. Because we got work to do.
We got work to do.
And the Lord has work for us to do.
Yes, absolutely.
For outside of what we trying to it's kingdom work to be done. So I'm gonna think about let's talk about the Sabbath a little bit. It's a very nuanced subject. I know some people have there's different denominations in the faith. There's different perspectives on the Sabbath. And shout out Lecrae. He put me on this podcast, Rule of Life, by Andy Comer. That's really dope. And they basically break down the spiritual disciplines through the Eastern Orthodox lens. They talk about rest, fasting, prayer, and they really Sabbath. They talk about all these things, and they really break it down and give you some frameworks on what the intention was in the writers in the scripture meant when they said Sabbath. And there's so much to think about. And there's different perspectives about, it's a Christian Sabbath. What does Sabbath look like? Is Sabbath a dedicated day? Or is it a posture? Or is it... So I'm not here to proclaim what is what. What I am saying is God created us to rest. And you have to, in your busyness, we have to find time to do it. I could think about the days when... I have friends, even I was at an event last night. I have friends that kind of work outside of Christian spaces and mainstream spaces, and they be working all the time. All the time. They don't have no break. I'm so thankful to work at Reach with Ben and Lecrae, family men who love the Lord, have families. Look, Lecrae ain't never texting me on a Sunday. Doesn't happen. You know why? Because he's with his family.
Right. That man resting.
Resting.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good. I just also like we have to like carve out intentional time to Sabbath, which is to make time to rest. Again, I ain't here to say what it looked like, but for me, I've been finding ways to like, on Sundays I mean, every now and then I slip up, but I'm like, I don't even open my laptop on Sundays. It's not even, I don't even have time to think about making beats. It's like, it's God, family. And I feel like that's been replenishing for me. And I want to challenge us, especially my creative people who don't have kids.
Yeah, come on.
My creative people, I know I'm talking a lot, but for the creative artists who don't have kids and who don't have family. So because you can argue I have the privilege of resting because I have obligation. Take a Sunday off, yo. Take a Sunday off. Don't do nothing. Get off Instagram too.
I want to tell you that's a mental rest.
Get off socials. Get off socials.
Getting off socials.
Resting ain't just not doing work. It's resting in the Lord. And I think, say more.
I think sometimes we've taken God out of resting.
Oh, that's hard.
Because like you said, resting in the Lord, where we'll do these self-care things. We'll go to the spa. We'll do these things where we wanted to get our mind off of it. But I feel like Sabbath was meant for us to spend more time with God. Uninterrupted, resting in him.
For sure.
How do you rest in him? You can rest in his presence, rest in his word, rest with him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want for us to be so fixed on self-care where it makes us selfish.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
That's hard.
Because self-care, we are taking care of ourselves, but at the same time, we can't forget God in the midst of it.
I have nothing else to say. Right? You said I don't want to get so caught up in self-care that we'll become selfish, and that's so. And this is like kind of challenging me in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially as men, I work hard. I'm gonna go watch this. I'm just gonna get my day to just rest but really. Our definition of rest, I wonder if God is in it. That's all. But
you know what's crazy you saying about black men? Strong black woman. Getting it done. Independent.
For sure.
I don't need no help. You know what I'm saying? So, but even also being able to, that it's okay that we're not less than.
For sure.
We're not less than because we take a break.
Not at all.
I feel like it takes strength to rest.
It takes strength to rest. Yeah, it does. It's a discipline.
Rest
it's part of the discipline. It's like stop. Put the song. The song ain't you didn't kill it. Come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go home at 6. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
We didn't nail the hook idea. Go home. You know what I'm saying? Come back tomorrow. God, even while you're at home cooking dinner with your kids, God's pouring lyric ideas into you and the other creatives. That can be renewed for tomorrow. Hey, Meah, it's all good. Rest. I got those other plans and your media plans. I'm working it out. Stop. Trust. Surrender. Rest. And I just feel like, there's obviously like deep dives we can go into for people who are well read. I mean, I'm sure like even talking to like Lecrae and AT. There's like deep disciplines and research and study from like a biblical lens, like on some exegesis. That's like how we break down the scriptures and how to inform our rest. And I'm still learning that because I feel like I was raised to not really understand that.
Yeah.
But the takeaway that I'm hearing you say and kind of listening to what God's put in my heart is just like, be intentional about rest. How that looks like and all the details. There's a lot to unpack and probably more than we can even get into on the show. I mean, I'm not posturing myself as like some expert on the Sabbath. Like, nah.
I feel like we're figuring things out and getting encouraged as we talk.
For sure.
And even the way you said, make rest intentional. I can't remember who I heard say it, but people said that people just started saying priorities. And it used to never be priorities. It was a priority. That's good. Because there's only one that could be on top.
Dang.
If we make God priority, I feel like rest, that equates as rest as well.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? And we hope that with people tuning in and listening to this conversation, that along with Ace and I talking and us taking these gems for our lives and the way we live and the way we work, you people listening will be able to take this in and be able to apply it and just make an effort. Because it's all about progression and not perfection.
For sure.
It's about just, okay, well, I'm going to start this week.
For sure.
Making my Sabbath.
We are constantly being renewed. We're not renewed. We're being renewed. Yeah. So, man, I appreciate you, Meah, for dropping those gems today, for sure.
No, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to ask Ace I'm going to have to ask you something. Repeat the things you said, especially even that podcast that you mentioned.
I'm gonna send it to you.
We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode and were able to grasp something from this. Of course, Ace and I, we're always holding it down here on the 116 Life. We want you guys to be able to get some rest this week. And also, we'll see you next week, as always, here on the 116 Life, here on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius XM Channel 140. We'll see you guys next week.